Hello, guys. This is Yatish. I'm just recording this to start off the call for today. So today we're going to be talking about EBCo, specifically the finance sessions, and hopefully you guys, even if you've been to EBCo, this is a really useful resource or really useful recap. I'm going to be going a little bit on the faster side, just over the things that weren't specifically content, more so like community building, things like that. I'll just I have the slides in there, but I'm just going to be going over those a little faster just because that was during the conference. But without further ado, let us begin. Okay, let's share the screen. Okay, awesome, cool. So here is the PowerPoint, and so EBCo. So the conference was the theme was Let's Go. So hashtag ding. So EBCo 2017. Yep. Cool. So we began with just all of the finance group in a room together. And so what do you see when you look around? The main purpose of this is just to say, do you see your friends? Do you see new faces, old faces? What do you see? And so then what do I see when I look around? So this was mostly Katie talking about seeing the finance network, how we're a community, how we're a group of people coming together, not only to work for our LC success, but to work for communal success, so that ISIC in the United States can be the best entity if possible, and will be a top 10 entity. And so then our finance team has arrived. And so where did we start? So we did a little quick recap of WNC. So when all of y'all's terms started, so the new VPF network, you guys had sort of a transition period and then leading up to WNC. And then WNC, we created the name Gold Diggers. So we're the Gold Digger Network for the 2017 finance years. And our hashtag is money doesn't grow on trees. So the idea was that we're gold diggers because we don't just look at the surface. We don't just look at what's going on the ground. We dig deeper and we sort of get data. We get information. We analyze, and we have to dig for the gold. We have to dig in order to be successful. And so this is the idea that money doesn't grow on trees. We have to dig for it, And so we had a brainstorming session during WNC that was part of the top 10 VP Finance network. And the purpose of this, excuse me, is today, like every day as VP Finance, I choose to be, and we had about 20 words, so 20 descriptors of what the finance network needs to be, the VP Finance network specifically. And so today, like every day as VP Finance, I choose to be. The three things that we're focused on for EBCo was to be knowledgeable, reliable, and confident. And so as you'll see throughout this recap, I'll show you what parts are focused on the knowledge basis, what are focused on being reliable, and then which ones are about confidence. And so who's in the house? So we did a little, a little get to know, a little session where we talked through the people in the room. We just got to know each other a little better. And so who am I? So this was about Katie. So here's her pictures. She talked about her journey, how she got to where she is. She was an IGT and then became LCP. And then after that, she actually applied for VP Finance, and she's your MC VP Finance for this year. So then she met one of her best friends, Lydia, who's on the MC with her right now. This was her EB. And so this was about her stand and why she is where she is now. And so she wanted to challenge herself to be the best version. So I stand for never knowing. I am a stand for never knowing a stranger and challenging myself and others to be the best version of ourselves, pursuing what we are all capable of. So she went to EUROCO, which is an international conference, and I recommend all of you guys go to an international conference at some point. And she created the stand, and she lives by this today. And so, yep. And then this was the MC 15 through 17. So this was the current MC and the last MC. And so this is her current MC right now. Yes. And so then we asked again, who's in the house? So this was about the VP Finance network, getting to know each other a little better. We introduced ourselves, what LC we were from. We created a dance move. And so these were then we split into groups. And so these were the people that were at EBCo. So we had 6 groups. And so then to get to know each other, we did 2 truths and a lie. So then after that, we did 2 truths and a lie about our VP term. I thought that was a little interesting. and then who knows the full team. So after we did our dance move, after we got to know each other a little better, we kind of did a quiz to see who knew everybody in the room. It was a lot of fun. A lot of people got it. And so then we went through the agenda. So you'll see as we go through the entire content. The agenda I don't need to go through right now. You'll get to see all the content. So what's my purpose? Why am I here? So we talked about the why, how, what, so the golden circle. So the why of ISIC. So this is sort of why we do what we do. So we strive to achieve the peace and fulfillment of humankind's potential. How we do it is through our leadership development model, so the LDM. And then the what is the ISIC experience. So sending people on cross-cultural exchanges and creating these opportunities, plus the ambition behind it. And so then, if you guys have seen this before, this is the LDMs. These are the 4 qualities. So the first is to be a world citizen. So empowering others, solution-oriented, self-aware, and world citizen. So these 4 things create the leadership development model that ISIC stands on. So a little bit about that. So empowering others is the ability to not only impact what you're doing, so not only improve yourself in this organization, but empower others to gain the same experiences, even better experiences, and push them to be the best version of themselves that they can be. So similar to what Katie's stand was about. We talked about how she wanted to basically push everybody to be the best version of ourselves as a group, make us the best we could be. And so empowering others is key to that. Being solution-oriented is not facing a problem and seeing that there isn't a solution quite yet, but being solution-oriented and thinking of adaptive and proactive ways to create solutions and solve problems so that we don't find barriers, instead we break them down. Being self-aware goes into the idea of understanding your strengths and your weaknesses and using that to capitalize on a team experience, on an individual experience, to make the most impact possible in the least amount of time possible. So being self-aware is an understanding of yourself at a much deeper level than just saying I'm good at this, I'm bad at this, but saying what your strengths and weaknesses can do for you, can do for a team, and can do for other people. And being a world citizen, in my opinion, is taking all 3 of these things and combining them together. Creating a person that is open-minded, creating a person that is able to look at the global perspective of how we live, and become a world citizen by creating a unified society. And one of the main reasons I joined ISIC, for example, was to join something that was bigger than myself, that was able to unify people, not divide them. And being a world citizen is core to doing that. And so then the leadership qualities that we develop. So this is part of the sort of the developmental journey that ISIC is pushing for. So we've got globalization and nationalization. So we've got self-aware, so understand and lives personal values. So this is a personal thing. So I understand and live personal values. I focus on my strengths over my weaknesses, and I explore my passions. And then declining trust in formal leaders. This is how world citizens comes into play. So believe in the ability to make a difference in the world, being interested in world issues, and enjoys taking responsibility for improving the world. So these things you can look at and sort of identify with and say, okay, I can improve on this. So I can identify with this. And so then we live in a complex and interconnected world. And so empowering others is vital. So this is a person that communicates effectively in diverse environments and develops and empowers other people and engages with others to achieve a bigger purpose. We live in a very uncertain world. Like I said, there are a lot of problems with this world, but there are a lot of great things about it too. And being solution-oriented is essential to making sure that we continue to create certainty, but also live in an uncertain world where we're developing. And so this is a person that adapts and shows resilience in the face of challenges. They transmit positivity to move forward through uncertainty. And they take risks when needed. This is the LDM. These are the leadership qualities that ISIC develops. So we do this. So how do we do all these things? And so we do this through cross-cultural exchanges and by creating these opportunities. So ISIC's main programs are to create opportunities for people to volunteer and intern abroad, and these are the cross-cultural exchanges we speak of. We enable young people to develop their leadership through learning from practical experiences in challenging environments. You didn't join ISIC because it was easy. None of us joined something so developmental unless it was going to challenge us in ways that we didn't think of, and in ways that we did think of but never expected it to be so evolving. And so I think these 2 things are core things to think about, and there are 2 things that we went over during the session. And so this is the community. We're trying to create a community here, and EBCo, the beginning of it was to really understand the VP Finance network that we live in and make the most out of the connections, the people, and the experiences that we have to create the best network possible. And so we went over the why, the how, and the what. Check. Cool. And so we got back into groups again, and what we did this time was we just, we talked through the why, how, what resonated with people, what didn't, and we together solved any sort of gaps that existed in between the previous part and now. And so making sure we understand the why, how, what, the golden circle, understanding why we do what we do, how we do it, and what we're doing. Cool. So, and so what kind of VP have you been? So this is a question of self-reflection, and it's what have you done so far in the first month of your term, a little more than a month, and what has that meant for your LC? What has that meant for the network? What has that meant for ISIC United States? And so then the question is, what is the VP that ISIC US needs? And so we went over these 4 things. So we enable young people to develop their leadership through practical experiences in challenging environments. We do this through cross-cultural exchanges and by creating these opportunities. And can you imagine what happens to the world when we engage and develop every young person? This is the question that drives us as we strive to achieve what we envision, which is peace and fulfillment of humankind's potential. So this is connecting everything together, and whether you think about it or not, you are exhibiting this what in many ways. And so we go back to the Gold Digger Network and understanding what that means to this bigger picture. And we have this identity that we are intact to. And so the 3 main things, like I said, of the conference was to be knowledgeable, reliable, and confident. These are 3 of the top things that we believe a top 10 VP Finance exhibits. And so welcome home. So this is our home. Like the group, every time we met up in a session, it was our home. It was the finance house, more or less. And so the idea is that we're all in this together. So there was a break between the last parts that I was just talking about and now. And so we, I'm sorry, there was not. But so basically this first part is the first session of the entire conference. We've gone through the why, how, what ISIC means to the individual, where you are in your journey of the VPF so far. You've finished 1 out of your 12 months, which may not seem like a lot, but I can very much assure you that this month has probably felt like it has gone by too quickly, and a lot of things have been done and a lot of things have not been done yet. And so then we talked about the roll call. So we had a team captain. It was Nathaniel from Ohio, and what we did was we talked about what song we wanted to do. We started choreographing. It was the song ended up being "Bitch Better Have My Money." It was a really good song. I'll actually have the video in part of the output so that you guys can go watch it, you can learn it, and then at S&C we can all dance it together. And so Let's Go is the roll call, of course, of the MC. So we had a break here, and so then we moved into Team Training 2.0. And so Team Training 2.0 was focused on, first we did a check-in, and then we said, okay, what did we cover in Team Arrival? So that was the first part. So we got to know each other. We had the LDM. We talked about the why, how, what, and so golden circle, all these things. And so we talked about the network identity and the behaviors that we want. So being knowledgeable, reliable, and confident. And so then we talked about our identity, so gold diggers, and then hashtag money doesn't grow on trees. These 2 things are intertwined. And I think they are a core part of why we've been so successful thus far, is building this identity. So then knowledgeable, reliable, and confident, like I said. So then we got to know each other. We threw money at each other, not really. We did some song choreographing, and we learned about each other. We recited each other's names. We got to know each other a little better. And so then we connected finance the ISIC way. So what I was talking about earlier, these 4 things. Of course, you can find these things online as well if you want to ever review them. And then we talked about what kind of VP Finance have you been? What is the VPF that ISIC United States needs? It's not just about where you're at, it's about what the need of the organization nationally is, so that we can not only excel what we're doing, but make sure that we are pushing the network forward, not only locally or regionally, but nationally as well. So then what's in store for today? So this was the idea of team training 2.0. So something that was really clever that this MC did was their roll call. They took the song lyrics from the roll call, and each session was built around that. So team training 2.0. So this is day 2 of the conference, I believe. So team training 2.0. If quit is in your vocabulary, I cannot quote that. And then we had lunch, and then game on, I'm about to do my thing, and then Heart of the Panther, Grace of the Dancer, and then we had a break. So the first thing we did was Q1 interview, so Q1. You guys just finished up the first quarter, and more or less the idea is we went over national exchange, so we did an overview of that. And so January through March 2017, we had Q1, so the number of opens. So our total goal was 3,672. We achieved 1,547. So our quarter performance is 42%. And then we had a gap of 2,125. And so MC Rise was the 15-16 term. So that was the previous MC. They had 1,416 at this exact moment, so end of Q1. And so we have gotten 9% of relative growth. So that means we improved 9%. But then our absolute growth, so the number that we increased by was 131. Approvals, 878 was the goal, 249 was achieved. 28% of our quarter performance was occurred. Our surplus, or gap actually in this case, is 629. MC Rise to 232. We saw a 7% increase, 17 absolute growth. Realized 127 was our goal, 75 was achieved, 59% of our quarter performance. 52 in gap, 151 was the previous MC. We decreased by 50%, and our absolute growth was negative 76. And so then completed, the total goal was 70. Our achieved was 116, so we achieved 166% of the quarter. Our surplus was 46, and MC Rise was 114. So we increased by 2%. Our absolute growth was 2, but awesome, guys. Yes. So then our IGV overview. So breaking it down by program now. So total goal 150, total achieved. So this is for opens 150, total achieved 25. Quarter performance 17%. Then our gap was 125. So MC Rise had 0 at this time. So our relative growth, you can't really divide by 0, but our absolute growth was 25. So we have 25 more at this time than we did in 2016. Approved 81. So total, and then achieved, we achieved 3. So that was 4% of our performance. We had a gap of 78. MC Rise did 7 at this point. So our relative growth was actually decreased by 57%. Our absolute growth was, we decreased by 4. And so our realizations, we had a goal of 0, but we actually achieved 5. So our quarter performance, can't really divide by 0, but we increased by 5. So our surplus was 5. MC Rise had 2 at this point. Our relative growth, 150%. Absolute growth, 3. Completed, 0 goal, 1 achieved. Can't divide by 0. Increased by 1. Goal from 2016, or actually achieved from 2016, was 2. Then we decreased by 50%. We went down by 1. OGD, 2,700 was the goal for applied. 902 achieved. 33% of our quarter performance. We decreased by 1,798, so our gap. 576 was the 2016 achievement. Our relative growth was 57%. Our absolute growth was 326. Pretty awesome. So our approvals for the quarter for OGB was 550 was the goal. 191 achieved, 35%. We had a gap of 359. MC Rise did 110. So we had 74% relative growth, and our absolute growth was 81. 30 realizations, 20 were achieved, 67% was the quarter performance. We were 10 lower. Our MC Rise was 40, so we actually had 50% relative decrease, and so then our absolute growth was actually negative 20. Completions, 70 was the goal, 55 achieved, 79% quarter performance. We decreased by 15, 56 was the 2016 achievement, 2% decrease in relative growth, and we actually decreased by 1. Cool. Yes. OGT. So OGET, 720 was the goal, 567 was achieved, 79%. We actually had a gap of 153, 809 in MC Rise's term, 30% decrease in relative growth, and we decreased by 242. That was for application. Approvals, 170 goal, 32 achieved, 19% quarter performance. Our gap was 138, MC Rise at 72. Relative growth was negative 56%, and our absolute growth was negative 40. So we decreased by 40. Awesome. Sorry, if I cough at any point, it's because I'm speaking as fast as I can. Awesome. So realizations, 70 was the goal, 23 was achieved, 32% quarter performance. We had a gap of 47. MC Rise was 71. So we decreased by 68%, and our absolute growth was negative 48. So our completions, we said 0 was the goal, 23 was achieved. We can't divide by 0. The surplus was 23. MC Rise did 30. That means that we had a relative growth of negative 23%, and our absolute growth was actually decreased by 7 exchanges. Cool. IGET. So 102 was the goal for opens, 53 was achieved, 52% quarter performance. We decreased by 49, so we had a gap of 49. 31 was MC Rise's achievement, 71% relative growth, and our 22, we had 22 absolute growth, so 22 extra exchanges. 77 was the approval goal, 23 was achieved, 30% quarter performance. We had a gap of 54. MC Rise did 43. We decreased by 47% in relative growth, and we had 20 less exchanges in absolute growth. 27 realizations, we achieved 27. That means that our quarter performance was 100%. We had a gap / surplus of 0. Awesome. MC Rise 38. That means that we decreased by 29% of relative growth, and we decreased by 11 exchanges. Completions, we said we would have 0. We achieved 37. You can't divide by 0, of course. So we had a gap. We had a surplus of 37. MC Rise did 26. That means we had 42% relative growth and 11 extra exchanges. Awesome. Cool. So now we're going to look over local exchange overview. So what was your planned exchange performance this quarter? What was your achieved exchange performance this quarter? SOS. So what we talked about was we basically had people pull up their laptops. We talked through what their plan was, so like what they had budgeted, and then what their achievement was for the quarter. And so this is what we are doing. So we asked them to pull up an EXPA. So you guys should all have EXPA accounts. If you don't, reach out to me, reach out to Katie, reach out to your network manager. We'll get you set up on that. So planned quarter 1, 2017, how many approvals did you have for each program? So IGET, OGET, OGB, IGB. What was your planned? What was your achieved? So that was the first 2. So we made people make a grid on a piece of paper, and then we had them pull it up on their laptop. Awesome. So the quick challenge is how many, we kind of tested people's knowledge of EXPA, and we said how many approvals did ISIC United States have between March 5th and 15th? I cannot remember the number. I believe it was around 80, but don't quote me on it. We can check on that. So that was a challenge, just to see how quick, how easy EXPA was for people to pull up, analyze. They already had it pulled up when they were looking at this stuff. So yes, and so then we looked at the local financial overview. So LCs in debt, plus exchange needed for break-even. So these are all the LCs in debt, and what the arrows and the equal sign is whether in the last, since this was reported, whether they've increased or decreased. And so Arizona, $13,868 in debt. Chapel Hill, $11,962 in debt. They've increased though. They've started doing the exchange. They've done a little better. So they need under it. They've also got how many exchanges they need to do. So a new debt. So we noted if there was new debt. So Colorado just went in debt. So they need 9 OGB or 6 OGT to get out of debt. Denver was $893 in debt. Eau Claire $1,475. Illinois $2,123. Michigan was $11,796. So something to know, Illinois did not change, did not decrease, did not decrease, exact same. New debt, so San Diego $622. Something to know is sometimes these things, if you look at these and any of them are your LC, and you went to EBCo or you were and you just realized like this doesn't look right, please do reach out. Occasionally we have accounting errors, things like that. San Jose has increased, they've done a little better, $12,076 in debt. And then Yale is $7,020 in debt. They do have they need 19 OGB, but they also have enough in an external account. So, you know, making sure your external account, if you have enough money to cover your debt, do that, because we don't want to be in debt. Being in debt is, I mean, red is like, you know, bad. So then we looked at LC projections. So some of these are incorrect, but well, actually, a few of them might be incorrect, but for the most part, these are your current balances, so you can see where you're at. And then your April payment. So as you know, your affiliation fees come out in April, and then they come out in October. So the April payment, as we are about to hit April, it's the end of March. You're about to have your April payment deducted, and then your balance afterwards is as follows. Please check and see where you're at. And so I'll just keep this up for a few seconds in case you want to screenshot it while this video is going on. Otherwise, we can get you this information. But yeah, we just basically did then what's your budget outcome? So if your budget goes as planned, so something to note, like for example, Austin is not going to be negative $5,158 in debt after the outcome of their budget. And then the goal outcomes, so if they reach all of their goals, everybody will be pretty golden. Yeah. And so then here are the LC projections for Eau Claire through Michigan. Okay. So I'll keep this up for a few seconds. Rather than going through all of this individually, you can look at yours and pause the video, take a screenshot, whatever you need to do. Cool. And so then LC projections, New York City to Yale. Okay. Cool. And if any of this looks wrong, please do let me know, let Katie know, let your network manager know, so that we can fix it, so that we have accurate information for you to look at, so that you know what you need to do to get out of debt, or in order to, you know, stay sustainable or increase your reserves, stuff like that. Cool. And so then this is accounts receivable. So this is the concerning part of every financial situation every year, is these are not these accounts receivable are not accounted for as debts yet. So like the amounts you see to the left are uncollected amounts, where they're actually quoted in as revenues at the moment, but they're not collected quite yet. And so quite easily, if you don't collect on these things and they're written off, or the company doesn't pay or whatever, you're going to be in a lot of trouble financially. And so making sure you look at this, understanding that accounts receivable is like the bane of any company's existence, and it is a huge problem in the United States, as you see from this bar graph. There are significant amounts of uncollected revenue that need to be collected now, or we jeopardize the health of the organization. So I'm going to give you 2 seconds. You can pause the video, do whatever you need to do. Cool. So well, any of this is surprising. So look in the mirror. Really take a self-reflection. We did a lot of self-reflection in terms of where you're at quarterly from a financial perspective, where you are as a person, where you are developmentally, where you are engaging your LC, engaging the network, things like that. And so was any of this surprising? Cool. But if I fall, am I going to stand up? I'm going to stand up. I'm not. Am I going to? So am I on track? Is it? How is my LC doing? Is my LC on track? So financially, we have our own goals. We have our own. As a VP, you have goals that you want to hit to develop yourself. So am I on track as a VP? And then is my LC on track? So if I fall, I'm going to stand up again, and I'm going to stand again. Sorry. And this is super important, making sure that you know if you're on track. If you're not, don't fear asking for help, because I know that's something I wish I'd done. I wish when I was a VP that I asked for help earlier. And that's what we're here for. We're here as a community, we're here as a network to help each other. Cool. So let's check on the Q2 game plan. So we just did Q1 review. And so evaluating the legitimacy of your plan and the health of programs is critical. So go to bit.ly, USLC plans, open your LC budgets. Let's just get out of that for a half second. So here are the LC plans. What we have going on is pretty simple. So we've got the, this is the US plans. So for every LC, if you have Appalachian, Arizona State, Austin, Boston, you name it. So this has like your behaviors, your purpose, your ambition. So how many exchanges you want to do. Certain LCs don't have same ambition. So what are your strategic priorities, tracking yourself, things like that. And so this one was bit.ly/USLC plans. So US LC is capitalized, and then plans. I'll give you 2 seconds to look at that. And then we looked over at the budget tools, so Flywheel budget tools. So we got pulled it up, 2017 LC budget tools. So you got every single LC. You can pull up your LC. You can, even if you wanted to, you can look at other LCs. But please know that you have this. If you don't use your budget tool or you don't know where to find it, check this out. So yeah, bit.ly, Flywheel, capital F, budget, capital B, tools, capital T. So FBT. Cool. And so then we went into, so let's look at the numbers. So pulling up your budget tool, pulling up your LC plans. What is your financial goal in terms of approvals from January to June? So looking at what you had planned for quarter 1. So we've done that already. If you remember from before, we did the plan Q1 2017 per program. So IGT approvals, OGT, OGB, IGB, and then achieved quarter 1 2017. So what did you achieve? So you've done that. Everything in green is done. So what is the percentage growth from last year per program? So what is your planned quarter 1 and quarter 2 for this year, so for 2017? So input that for IGT, OGT, OGB, IGB. You can find all this stuff on Expla. You can find it on your your plan stuff is going to be on your budget or any tracking tool that you have that has your exact numbers. And then last year, quarter 1, quarter 2. So you're looking at 2016. What was your quarter 1 and quarter 2 look? What did it look like? So this is looking at Expla and saying, here's what last year looked like, or looking at any tool that had the exact accurate amount of your IGT approvals, your OGT approvals, your OGE approvals, your IGB approvals, IGE, IGT, and OGE as well. Cool. So check Expla Analytics for approvals from last year if you don't know, like I said. Perfect. And so then let's look at the management. So how is your budget being managed? Do all the decisions go through you as the VPF? That is something to think about, whether it's good or bad. And you want to have multiple people that make decisions with you. You don't want to make it just yourself, but like what decisions are going through you, just you as a VPF? Are they smart? Is it smart for it to be that way? Should you have more layers to it? Think about that. So do all of your decisions, do all the decisions go through you as the VPF? Every decision should go through you as the VPF, but you shouldn't necessarily always be the one making decisions. B, do your operation VPs have their own budget to make decisions within? So do they have autonomy within their budgets in some senses? Think about that. Could be good, could be bad. It really depends on your situation. And then C, at what point does the LCP get involved? So then we've got the functional budget template. Let me pull up. I'll pull that up in a second. Let me just talk to you for it. So are there any bottlenecks in budget management that is slowing down your decision-making process? How long on average does it take to make an investment decision? If the answer is a long time, or if the answer is more than it needs to be, and more than the time frame of the actual investment that you're making, then really think about what needs to happen in order to streamline that process. So let's open the functional budget template really quickly. So you got, yes, so this is super, super cool. So shout out to Katie for making this and making it an amazing tool. So MC Flywheel has done this for you. So you've got OGT. So just make a copy of this. So just go file, make a copy, and you got your OGT, and then it's the date. So the date of the project, and then what is the date and the project manager's name. What is the project about? So like project budget. So expense, investment description. So what is it? What is the focus area? Priority. So what are your priorities from 1 to 5? So like 5 being the highest, and then what is the marketing cost? What's the extra marketing cost? Travel costs associated with it? Material cost, miscellaneous costs, monthly total cost. So you got everything by month. So by month, by week. So first week of January, second week of January, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, whatever. So you got everything for the entire month of January. I'm sorry, these aren't weeks necessarily. They're more descriptions that you're giving for the budget. And so really use this as a functional budget. So it's a template that your VPs can use if that makes sense. Otherwise, you can navigate this process with them and walk through everything so that they can see an analysis that's pretty simple to understand. Awesome. If my voice starts to change, it's because it started to dry. So 3.0. So we just did functional training. 1.0 was getting to know the network, going over why, how, what. going over the LDM, so leadership development model, why IC does what it does, the why, how, what, who we are, the Gold Digger Network, hashtag money doesn't grow on trees. 2.0 was going over quarter 1 and quarter 2 review, saying, am I doing enough? What am I doing as a VPF? What are the decision-making processes that exist? 3.0, we got in the groups again. So we said, let's look at the numbers. So what is your financial goal in terms of approvals? So what percent growth from last year per program? So we did that a little earlier. We said, hey, from last year, our plan was this, our achieved was this, and then our plan for quarter 1, quarter 2 is this. How was our growth in the previous year? So similar to what the national budget tool was, where we had the national amount of approvals, national amount of what was achieved in the month of January, February, March, so first quarter, and then what was MC Rise, so 2016 looked like, and then what was the relative growth, so percentage growth, and what was our absolute growth, how many numbers, by how many did we increase or decrease. So your budget of revenue should be no more than 20%, 20 to 30% of what you did last year in each program. So what this means is you should not increase your budget more than 20 to 30%. So 120% to 130% of the previous year's budget, if things went well. So for expenses, do you see your LC plan reflected in your budget expenses, your budgeted expenses? How much is going into each program? Does this reflect your focus program? Does it reflect things like that? What are general expenses that are not program specific? And so just going over all of that, and then how much, in your opinion, is wasteful, aka not contributing to your plan? Cool. So we're going to use this information to see how healthy your programs are planned to be. So list revenue gained from each program, then group costs into general categories, and then allocate the costs into each program and calculate net profit by program. So what this looks like, and I can write something down after this call and post it with the call, is you want to list the amount of revenue that you gained from IGET, from IGE, from IGT, from OGE, OGT, things like that. And so list the revenue gained from each program. So what is the amount that you're going to get per program? And so the easiest way to do this is take the lowest amount that you would get from each exchange. So like a short-term, like a 3 to 6 month IGT exchange, or the lowest amount that you get from an OGD or OGE or OGT, and list those revenues from each program. So make sure that you understand how much revenue you're getting from each program. Then consider the costs associated with each program. So how much did you spend on IGT? How much did you spend on IGE, things like that. And then put into general categories things like affiliation fees, things like socials, things like that. So general categories, not exchange related, not operations related. And so then allocate the costs into each program. So, grouping. Once you take the grouped costs, you allocate the costs into each program. And then calculate the net profit by program. So how much are you getting on average? So how much revenue are you getting? How much money did you put in to get that exchange to happen? And how much are you making per exchange? So what is your net profit by program? Cool. So like this, exactly like this. So IGT, how many exchanges are you planning on doing for IGT? 3. Your revenue per exchange was $12.68. $38.04 was the revenue. Product specific expenses. So you spent $200 in networking events, whatever it may be. And then you've got your general expenses, so your affiliation fee. So then when you take all said and done, you calculate the percentage that each program allocation is. So if you look at it, the allocation of expenses, so 1,000 and 1,000. So you got those two. And so that's 50-50. So if you're only running IGT and OGB, you got 1,000 allocated towards IGT, 1,000 allocated to OGB. That means 50% of your allocations to IGT, 50% to OGB. And then what's your profit loss? So you're taking 3804 minus 200 minus 1,000, 2604. So you got your general expenses that need to be calculated into how much you're spending, and then you look at the profit loss. So split general expenses between programs. If you run IGB, I wouldn't include IGB in the affiliation fee split because the royalty is already higher. So I hope this makes sense. Like you're taking your affiliation fee, you're taking all these things, calculating it like this, and it's based off of. So we said that the royalties are excluded. So we're just assuming these two things. So 1268, 375. This allows you to get a baseline of what is going to happen. Cool. Conclusions. So we talked about it, we talked through it, we had a group discussion about this, and we came to some conclusions about what it looks like, how people feel like they're doing, where, like, has your mindset changed? Like, are you concerned? Are you excited? Are you happy? Like, are you ready to go back and work harder than ever? Do you think you guys are doing really well? Things like that. So game on, I'm about to do my thing. So what needs to improve? So what are all the pieces? So the first is tracking your actuals. You need to make sure that you're on top of it. If you don't track your actuals, nobody else will. And if nobody else does, then you're going to spiral out of control and you're not going to know what's going on. And your LC is not going to be informed about what's going right, what's going wrong from a financial perspective so that you can be sustainable and act that way. And then you're tracking your receivables. Like we looked at, accounts receivable is a plague for IC United States. If those things go written off, we are in, the simplest way to put it is we are in a very bad situation. And the third is strategic contribution. So what are you, how are you allocating your resources? What is your strategic contribution looking? So these are the three pieces: tracking your actuals, tracking receivables, and your strategic contribution. So tracking your actuals. How are you currently tracking revenue and expenses? Simple answer. Think about it, write it down. What is your lag time? So how long does it take you from the moment something is purchased? So the moment I give you $1, how long is it taking you to basically input that you received $1 from Yatish for X thing? What is your lag time? How can we make this faster? This is where it's very unique. There are different ways that you can make it faster, but it's really up to you to understand what is causing your lag time, what is causing it to be slow, and how to streamline that process, make it a lot faster. Second, tracking receivables. How are you currently cross-checking payments and collections and approvals for ICX and OGX? So what is your current process of tracking receivables? So once somebody says they're going to pay, and once it's been recorded as the invoice is there, the payment is impending, how are you currently checking payments and collections and approvals for ICX and OGX? If you're not, what is the system that you can use? This is, and if you don't know, please ask. I want nothing more than to help you guys. We want nothing more than to help you guys succeed. Because if you succeed, we succeed, and if we all succeed, then we get great things to happen. Finally, strategic contribution. So this is a quick crash course on programs for you. So I'm about to go over how things are going to look. So OGV and OGET crash course. So here's the customer flow for Global Volunteer Talent, so GV and GT. So the idea is that it's an opportunity for a young person to develop leadership qualities of self-awareness, solution orientation, empowering others, and world citizenship while living a cross-cultural volunteer and internship experience. So this is really putting people in the trenches, so to speak. This is the customer flow. So the OGD value proposition for youth is a cross-cultural volunteer experience for young people who seek to develop themselves and the world by contributing to the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs. So it's a four-part process. There's attraction phase, consideration phase, value delivery phase, and brand advocacy. So our customer's profile is shifting while they move from one phase to the other. So in the attraction phase, the person or enabler is a stranger. The person or enabler is a visitor. So the way that the attraction phase occurs is through online marketing, social media attraction, on-the-ground marketing, promotional materials, email support. Simple as that. The consideration phase is when somebody is a lead. They are considering the product. Quite simple, yes. So a contract, an interview, so sign, approvals, payment, and contract signing. So it's pretty simple. It's just basically a consideration and moving forward with the process. So like I said, our customer's profile is shifting while they move from one phase to the other. The value delivery phase is where we're delivering value. So the person is a customer. So you've got their documents to sign, so document management, OPS, outgoing preparation seminar, getting them ready for the experience so that they can go on exchange. So this is delivering standard and satisfaction, getting them, making sure that all these things are happening, consistently following up on them. Nobody wants to be left in the dark once they've paid for something. That's poor customer service. Constant follow-up. And the next is the general 16 standards and satisfaction. We'll go over those in a few minutes. Brand advocacy is where the person is a promoter. They've finished their experience, they have been reintegrated, so the delivery of the reintegration seminar, bringing them back telling them here, like, what are your learning points? What did you gain? How can you, impact the world by promoting ISIC? How can you spread the word in your community? Things like that. Showcasing. Showing people's experiences is amazing. You see it all the time on social media, where we talk about a person's experience. They send a video saying, "Hey, I love my experience," and it radiates outwards. It's how we create exchange opportunities for people that didn't normally know about us or didn't normally consider us, and they see their friends having a great time. And then upselling opportunities, making sure that people are consistent. It's a cycle. The attraction phase ends with the brand advocacy phase for one person, but moves on to the next person. And so making sure that this cycle is understood is valuable and vital for finance people to understand what it is we're doing. Because these people aren't just monetary transactions. They are real people going on real exchanges with real lives and real opportunity for growth. And we want to make sure that the value delivery is there so that we can consistently get money so that we can become a sustainable organization that can continue to do what we're doing. Next, so the attraction phase. So your budget. So as a VPF, you should ensure two main things. So where's my money? So the first, that the VP, OGB, and OGET creates, understands, and follows the budget that you and your LCP create in the planning process. This is to make sure that people do not overspend, and if they're underspending, understanding why they're not spending on the things that they have budgeted. And then make a weekly follow-up of the investments that the VP, OGB, and OGB are making from their budget. So this is tracking their budget, seeing if they're underspending, if they're getting close to overspending, and kind of managing that. And then approve additional expenses and changes in the budget according to the current financial reality of the LC. If your LC is not doing well, if you're doing poorly, you're not going to increase spending because that's not necessarily the way to succeed. If they're doing exceptionally well, maybe give them some room to grow a little bit more by investing more aggressively. Marketing investments. So your role in the attraction investments of the LC have to be proactive and useful. This is not a passive function. No matter how many times people might say that, finance is not a passive function in the slightest. So above the line, ATL strategies. So brand awareness, example, radio talking. Below the line strategies, so response driven, so mail. Then you got through the line, so TTL strategies. Integrated mix of the above, so post in Facebook with a link. So it's some activity, it's some watching, some reading, pretty simple. The ROI is every single strategy needs to bring revenue to the LC. So ROI is return on investment. It means that every strategy needs a result, more exchanges. If that's not happening, so the result is more exchange. If that's not happening, simple, change it. Awesome. Consideration phase. So discounts. So here the role of the VPF is fundamental to push operations. So from an external perspective, you can use discounts and strategies to get more EPs referred or to accelerate the process with specific deadlines for the special prices. Not a discounted price, but reimbursed partially. Internal. The IXP, so Integrated Exchange Experience program, so one of your members going abroad, is one of the most important measures of success of your LC. And your help here is essential to creating sustainable strategies according to the performance of the members. Excuse me. So this is where the organizational management functions of TM and finance really synergize, and making sure that you are developing members, you're creating opportunities, and you're pushing people to be the best version of themselves. The auditing side. So as VPFs, our responsibility is to ensure the sustainability of our LC in a financial and legal way, so that with every single EP, you must make sure that they make the payment in the right time and the money goes into your account. Have ISOS, so International SOS, which is super important if anybody goes abroad. This is a very strong and like it's essential. You must have ISOS because this is how people are able to, in a state of emergency or dire situations, can get the help that they need from ISIC. And this program is necessary, and it's actually, I believe it's a requirement. And then have STEP. So these two things are important to making sure that not only are the programs that we're sending legal, but they're also sustainable. And so making sure that our EPs are safe, but also having a fantastic experience. Cool. OPS. So this event, so outgoing preparation seminar, like I said, so this is the value delivery portion, so loving our customers. This event is extremely important for the experience of our EPs. So it's necessary as VPF to create an event that not just aligns the right expectations, but also an event that they enjoy and remember. For example, you should have snacks and coffee. You should have gifts. You should have merchandise of the LC to promote. So value delivery investments. So during the exchange, our OGB and OGET team can have different expenses that we need to cover. For example, quality case expenses, so refunds in the case that somebody's experience goes poorly or they just don't have a good time. So the quality of it is something that you have to always consider and something that potentially will come up. So refunds. And then local seaters expenses. So having a local seater is a way for you to be able to drive value delivery and be able to make the process as efficient and as successful as possible. Yes. Cool. So then brand advocacy is the last part. So this goes into loving our customers again. So I just realized customers is misspelled. Anyway, so reintegration seminar. This event is extremely important for the experience of our EPs. So it's necessary as a VPF to create an event that not just aligns the right expectations, but is also an event that they enjoy and remember. So this is the same for OPS. Snacks and coffee, gifts, merchandise of the LC. So once they come back from their experience, hopefully they're as pumped as ever to not only make sure that ISIC is known to everybody, but is also something everybody experiences. This should be something that's unforgettable in the most positive kind of way. This leads into upselling. So your role during this phase is to ensure that our customers are going to take more experiences with us, more exchanges, or join the organization. For that, you need to manage a discount strategy for people that take other products with us. Yes. So this is somebody that goes on an exchange again, is giving them incentives and giving them, a feeling of being valued. Because not only are they valued, we have to show them. So IGET and IGB crash course. So this is same attraction, consideration, value delivery, and brand advocacy. So like I said before, so it's an opportunity for a young person to develop leadership qualities of the 4 LDN qualities while living in a cross-cultural volunteer or internship experience. So understand your product. So this is the 4 steps. So for attraction, it's business-to-business marketing, LinkedIn attraction, networking events, promotional material, email support. So a few different things there. Consideration phase. So the DS 7002. So this is to get an intern to come to create eligibility and go through the legal and the sort of logistical things necessary for a person to be able to go on an exchange or to do a GT exchange. And so then the contract, and so then approvals, payment of invoice. So making sure that you pay this, you make sure the payment process is going through, and then value delivery. So you've got your document management, you've got IPS, so integration, incoming preparation seminar. I'm sorry. So this is to make sure that they know what to expect, set some guidelines, rules, expectations, opportunities, things like that, and then consistently follow up. If you don't consistently follow up, like I said before, you're not going to get very far. Then we're going to talk about the general 16 standards and satisfactions pretty soon. So then we've got the brand advocacy phase. So this is simpler. It's actually showcasing and upselling opportunity. So we don't have a reintegration seminar or anything like that. We're just making sure that our incoming exchange, we have everything covered that we want to have covered. So showcasing these experiences, highlighting interns, making sure the opportunities are repeatable, are positive, and continue to grow our consumer base. Traction trade. So as a VPF, you should ensure 2 main things. The VP, IGB, and IGET create, understand, and follow the budget that you and your LCP create. Make a weekly follow-up. So these are very similar to the last stuff I was talking about. So, and then approve additional expenses and changes according to current financial reality. And then sales investment. So your role in the attraction and investment of the LC has to be proactive and useful. Again, same as last time. So 1, you need resources for gas, public transportation, to and from meetings. You don't want to have people pay out of pocket, and you want to be able to promote the ability to consistently sell exchanges and have them happen. So incentivizing members to do the best they can without worrying about personal financial constraints. Then you've got LinkedIn Navigator. It's a good trial, and if strong, ROI on lead measures, invest in it long term. So you have a strong return on investment on the use of LinkedIn Navigator, use it long term. Then 3, you've got networking events. So the return on investment, every single strategy needs to bring revenue to the LC. It means that every strategy needs, as a result, more exchanges. And if that is not happening, simple, change it. Same as last time. Consideration phase. So here the role of the VPF is fundamental in tracking this part of the customer flow, so invoice tracking. So 1, communication with the enablers, always through VP, IGT, and IGB. So making sure that there's a consistent framework for people to communicate, because you don't want to have 5,000 people speaking to one person when they already know your VP-IGT or VP-IGB, depending on what the exchange is for. And those are the people that are communicating with them the most and understand the realities of what is going on. And so making sure the communication stream is not a million people speaking to one person, but it's a one-to-one where you have the VP-IGT clued in on everything, or the VP-IGB clued in on it. Excuse me. Awesome. And the VPF tracks approvals to invoices created, making sure that all invoices are created. So this is very important to note. And then the VPF tracks payments of the invoice within 30 days, communicates this to VP-IGT and IGB to follow up with the enabler. So the enabler is usually the company, so making sure that there's constant communication. And then auditing, as VPFs, our responsibility is to ensure the sustainability of our LC in a financial and legal way. So with every single trainee, you must make sure that they have a social security number, proper visa paperwork, extensions filed within the necessary time frame, and then deliver the remaining standards and satisfaction. So we will we'll go to that in a second. And so it's very important to follow up with the VP-IGT. So this is value delivery, so tracking proper documentation. So making sure all the paperwork is submitted, including extensions, never advise on policies. For example, health insurance. Social security and bank accounts, make sure that those two things exist and making sure that they're set up in the right way. And then you've got value delivery investments. So during the exchange, our IGB and IGBT team can have different expenses that we need to cover. For example, reception, initial expenses for trainees, initial expenses for trainees, groceries for weekend or first meal, welcome package, quality case expenses, refunds, etc. Brand advocacy, so upside. Your role during this phase is to ensure that our enablers are going to take more opportunities with us, making sure they have a good experience, making sure that we appreciate them in the best kind of way, and making sure that the investments in relationship management, like a dinner with your partner, are happening. And then make sure you've got partner holiday cards. This is to build relationships and continue long-term partnerships. So making sure we are loving our customers. This is the brand advocacy phase. Cool. So what else do I need to know for summer peak? So what are all the pieces? So we've got reforecasting, proper reporting, and tracking standard and satisfaction. So reforecasting. Budget is the amount you intend to spend for the full year. Forecast is generally the actual spent to date, plus budget. So the estimated expense for the remaining period. So it's how much you've spent to date plus the rest of the remaining of your budget. Reforecasting or budget flexing is revising the projected expense based on actual knowledge. So this is using information that you have in order to make a more accurate estimation or accurate picture of what is to happen, so that you don't overspend and you're not overstepping your boundaries. What this does is it keeps you in check and it puts control into your hands to making sure that the flow of how your LC is doing is managed. So forecasting starts with certain assumptions based on the management's experience, knowledge, and judgment. This is good practice when you do weekly meetings with you and your LCP. Use one a month to reevaluate pipeline and make adjustments. So forecasting is super important to be doing on an ongoing basis. It's not something you do once every month. It's something that you're doing as frequently as you possibly can when necessary. Don't just reforecast for the sake of reforecasting. Reforecast when you have the proper increase in knowledge to gain more perspective into what needs to be happening. Have I evaluated planned versus actuals before? If you haven't, do it. Have I sat down with VP-OGB to ask about their pipeline for April? If you haven't, do it. Do I know if current activities will deliver March minimums? If you don't know this, make sure you do, because March is almost over. You've got about 2 days. So answer all these questions ASAP. Proper reporting. So we've got the bit.ly finance weekly updates. Perfect. So this is, so you're gonna make a copy of this. So you input your LC goals and your financial goals, concise overview of the plan, automatically fill. So your LC goals automatically fill into the second tab. Put this, but this is for you to track the achievement of approvals in each program. You and your finance team measure the success. So measure success is the achievement of your LC goals. Make a copy each month, the weekly updates, and follow the instructions to edit this. Track each week and use this to report to your LC team. You can also use the collection tab to track payments versus approvals, so you can see what still needs to be collected. Overall, it's for the monthly and quarterly reporting if you wish to use this. This is going into the quarterly reporting webinar that we did earlier. This is super valuable to making sure that you can create a really accurate report. So yeah, instead of going through the tabs, I'll let you check it out for yourself. So bit.ly finance at capital weekly W capital updates U capital. So yeah, we're almost done, guys. So how do I currently report to my LCP? Write that down. Make sure you understand, like, are you guys having virtual calls? Are you having physical calls? Are you doing both? Doing both is great. So how do I currently report to my LCP? Be very honest. Do not sort of bullshit yourself. Please, make sure you know what's going on. Do we have necessary information to make decisions effectively? So if we don't, let's do it together. Don't feel like you're secluded from your EBE or from your LCP or from anything like that. Make sure you're using them as if you are a parasite to gain knowledge. Do we have the necessary information to make decisions effectively? If not, let's brainstorm. Let's see, what do you know? What do I know? How can we work together to make sure that our LC is the best it can possibly be? That's what the EB experience is about. Standards. So track standards and satisfaction. So can anybody tell me what the standards are? So we asked this question. And so what are the financial implications of not delivering the standards? So I mentioned it a few times when we were going over the overview of the exchange programs and the 4 stages. How many standards are there? Think about that question before I move on. And what are the financial implications of not delivering the standards? Think about that as well. I talked about the financial and legal risks of not doing what you're supposed to do. So there are certain ththings that are part of the standards that you need to deliver on for an exchange, for an EP, for an intern, things like that. So then we got the standards page. So this is globally, this is the ISIC standards page. So you got 16 standards. I said this about 5 times. So first, you got personal goal setting. Second, outgoing preparation. What's cool is once you click on this, you can literally it'll go into detail for each of these. Third, expectation setting. Fourth, incoming preparation. Fifth, development spaces of opportunity provider. Sixth, debrief with the ISIC host. Seventh, visa and work permit, legal thing. Eighth, arrival pickup, making sure that people are not coming to the airport in a new country for the first time without support. Departure support, helping them get back to their country once they're done. 10, what is their JD? What is their job description? Making sure that that's valid. 11, what is the duration? 12, what are the working hours? So these are things you set up. 13th, what is their first day of work? What is it going to look like? 14th, insurance. 15th, accommodation. What is their housing going to look like? Making sure that they're not homeless. 16th, basic living costs. So all 16 standards are absolutely essential. I will use the word vital and essential thousands of times throughout this call, throughout any call that we have, because they are vital and essential. Cool. Awesome. Okay, so we'll do this. So team training 4 to 5.0. So these are the last 2 sessions that we had. They are, I believe, the end of day 2 and the last session of the conference on day 3. So welcome back, gold diggers. Money doesn't grow on trees. Let's choose to be knowledgeable, reliable, and confident today and every day. Sit back in your groups. So we've got 6 groups. So what has frustrated you the most about your role? Hopefully none of you have ever eaten your laptop like this lady, but what has frustrated you? Really pause the video now, think about it, write it down, have these conversations with your network manager. What do you want to be remembered for? What is it that you want to do now, in the past, in the future, before your term ends, and even after your term, to be remembered for? What is something that you want to be your legacy? We talk about our legacy all the time, but really think about it. Pause the video now, write this down. Anything they can do, we can do better. We're a top 10 VP Finance network for a reason. Let's show it. Just do it together. Remember, you're not alone. You'll never be alone. I'm here. Katie's here. The network's here. The network managers are here. Your VPs are all here. We're a community. We're the Gold Digger Network for a reason. Knowledgeable. So making sure that you understand what you know and understand what you don't know, and ask for help if you need it. We're not here to be Yatish, the best VP Finance ever. I didn't need anybody. I have consistently leaned on, relied on everybody that was in this track, everybody that I've met when I was a VP, everybody that I've worked with, specifically Katie, the network managers. It's an ongoing process. Do it together. Your knowledge will increase if you allow it to, but don't feel like you know everything. You never will, and that's okay. My only competition is myself. So reliable. So at this point, we actually wrote a letter to ourselves that we would open at, it would be sent to us by Katie in June, I believe, in either May or June. And the letter was, we could write whatever we wanted to, but specifically it was, what do I hope to accomplish? What do I need to tell myself, to remind myself of, to make sure that I'm on track, to make sure that I don't lose encouragement. And so we each wrote our own letters, and this is to show that we are reliable. The things that we wrote in that letter, we will open and we'll say, did we accomplish these things? Do I still remember what I wrote in that letter, word for word? And the thing is, it's only been a week, but that letter will hopefully most of us will live by it. So write yourself a letter and seal it. You know, open it up when everybody else gets their letters. But just make sure that you are reliable. My only competition is myself. The only person stopping you from doing what you want to do is yourself. You're the only inhibitor to your success. I say good luck. So this is, Katie talked a little bit about this. So for those of you that don't know, I will be the EBCo Finance starting at SNC, and so hopefully I'll see all of you guys there. But Katie thanked us for, this was her last conference with all of us together, which was very sad. Right now I'm very sad as well saying this. But Katie has been an inspiration, an influence, a motivator, and truly the EBCo Finance that has made us the network that we are. So she said, I say good luck, because she wants to make sure that we're confident. We need to be confident in our abilities, we need to be confident in ourselves, in each other, and work together to make sure that we succeed. And so Katie, in many ways, is passing the torch on from herself to, like, her term's not over yet. She's still gonna be with us. But making sure that you know that the only person that can stop you is yourself. We're in this together, making sure that we are reliable, we're confident, you know? So all these things are super important to making sure that we succeed. And so be confident. If you don't feel like you're confident, have a conversation with me. I can make you feel confident, hopefully. Yes. Cool. So, and I might throw it on Instagram. So we took a picture together. Hopefully that picture will surface and we can, it's actually the picture of, I believe, I think it's our group chat picture now, but I can check on that. So I might throw it on Instagram. Do it. Team photo. So let's go. Thank you. Yep. So this was a nice and fun call. So hopefully you guys were able to check in with it. You had some fun with it. Yes, I am happy to have recorded this call. If you have any questions, please let me know. I will be available always. So yeah, thanks guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.